Good evening and welcome to the Carnegie Town Hall. This meeting of the Sioux Falls City Council will begin in a few moments. The City Council meets on the first, second, and third Tuesday of each month at 7 o'clock p.m. and serves as the city's policy-making and legislative body. Each meeting is governed by Robert's Rules of Order unless those guidelines conflict with city ordinance or charter. City Council meetings offer an opportunity for citizens to speak directly to their elected representatives. Those in attendance are invited to address the Council during the public input segment at the beginning of the agenda. At that time, any issue that is not subject to formal action later in the agenda can be addressed. Testimony that concerns a resolution or an ordinance's second reading is only allowed when those specific agenda items are being addressed by the Council. When addressing the Council, citizens should speak directly into the microphones at the podium and state their names for the record after being recognized by the Chair. To accommodate and respect all viewpoints, citizen comments are limited by ordinance to no more than 5 minutes each. Comments should be respectful and focused on providing new information that will benefit the Council's deliberative process. The Chair reserves the right to limit the number of speakers. City Council meetings are broadcast live on CityLink and online at www.siouxfalls.org. Information regarding the City Council, its committees, meetings, briefings, and members is available by visiting www.siouxfalls.org/council or by calling the Council office at 605-367-8085. Thank you for your interest in Sioux Falls City government.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. It is Tuesday, June 21st. Certainly glad to have everybody here tonight. We'll start our meeting with a roll call of your City Council.
Council members Neitzert.
Here.
Rolfing.
Here.
Selberg.
Here.
Starr.
Here.
Staley.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Erpenbach.
Here.
Kylie.
Here.
Council, thank you. Good to have you here tonight. Don't know how many of you folks are familiar with Celebrate Church, but it is one of the most active, most growing churches in our great city, and we're very, very blessed to have Pastor Casey Comstock here with Celebrate. Thank you for being here, Pastor. He's going to lead us in an invocation. What we'd ask you to do is to stand for that invocation, for that blessing, and then remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Casey, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Father, I just thank you for this gift of life. And right now I just ask for your mercy, your grace, your peace to be with us. Father, be with us today as we talk about decisions, about matters of this community called Sioux Falls, this amazing community that is a life-giving community, Father. So I just thank you so much for what you have given us, this life, this community. And Father, I just pray that we can be united. Even though we might not be unified, we can be united together for a common purpose so that we as a people can thrive and not just survive, Father, because you are a life-giving God, and you create us to be life-givers. So, Father, I just pray that you be with us, be with Mayor Mike and the council as they make decisions. Thank you for their leadership, and just continue to be with them and guide them and protect them. So I just pray your hand of protection upon this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I put allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Leslie, welcome. You're going to bring some other folks too? Yeah, come on. Thanks for coming. Well, Leslie, before we get started, why don't would you mind just introducing yourself to the people of Sioux Falls, along with your guests here, please? Thank you.
I'm Leslie Morrow. I'm the State Executive Director of the Alzheimer's Association South Dakota chapter. This is Kathy Harriage. She's our State Program Director. and Floyd Bud Heineman, who's one of our very best advocates for the organization.
Thank you. Really appreciate it, and I'm going to do my best to get through this one. My father, Earl, is right now at Majestic Bluffs in Yankton, South Dakota. He was one of the most gracious men I've ever met. I consider him brilliant. The guy is so unbelievably smart. He was in education for years, trying to relay as much as he could to help folks. And right now, even though he's only about 83 years old, he probably is at about a year and a half function. And so I am going to have a little more passion in this one. Get ready. And Leslie, I truly thank you for being here and all that you do as well. Whereas, in 2016, more than 5 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's disease, including right here in South Dakota, 17,000 South Dakotans. Whereas Alzheimer's disease is the 6th leading cause of death in the United States, and the only cause of death among the top 10 that cannot be prevented, cannot be cured, and it cannot even be slowed. Whereas Alzheimer's is not a normal part of aging, but it is a fatal and progressive disease that attacks the brain, killing nerve cells and tissue, affecting an individual's ability to remember, think, and plan. Whereas less than half, about 45%, of seniors diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease or their caregivers are actually aware of their diagnosis. Whereas Alzheimer's is the most expensive disease in this country, costing taxpayers $18.3 million each hour, with a total national cost of $236 billion a year. Whereas the Alzheimer's Association is a leading voluntary health organization in Alzheimer's care support and research, and is the largest nonprofit funder of Alzheimer's research in the world. Whereas Alzheimer's cannot be prevented, but adopting healthy habits can reduce residents of Sioux Falls' risk, and yes, South Dakota, their risk of cognitive decline and contribute to brain health. Whereas the Alzheimer's Association South Dakota chapter supports those living with Alzheimer's disease, and this is an important part, folks. It's not only those with the disease, but this organization, they support the families and the friends of the Alzheimer's victims as well, through care consultations, support groups, and community education programs, and is committed to a world without Alzheimer's now. Therefore, I am Mike Huther. I'm the proud mayor of this city. We call it Sioux Falls, and I do hereby proclaim June 2016 as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month in Sioux Falls. Thank you for what you do. Thanks for the impact that you're making. I know just about everybody out here, you're impacted by Alzheimer's in some way. I know that. You know that. If you wouldn't mind, let's just give a round of applause for this cause. Council and audience, thanks for that opportunity. Really appreciate that. We're now going to move to our consent agenda. Councilors, any motions, changes, conversation? Councilor Urtenbach.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to remove item 14 for separate discussion, please.
Thank you. And councilors, any others? Very good. Could I get a motion to approve for the remaining items of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second, Urpenbach.
Council Chair Rolfing has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Urpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Neitzer.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Kiley.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 8-0. Our regular agenda tonight, councilors, any motions, changes to that?
Move to
for
approve.
approval.
Second, Erpenbach.
Council Vice Chair Councilor Kiley, has made a motion to approve our agenda for tonight, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you, Council. Folks, now is an opportunity for you to engage the Council on really any topic that is important to you involving our great city. If it's an agenda item later on, we'd ask you to wait for that agenda item. However, I do know there are some folks here that want to speak to item number 39 and item number 48. Council Chair Rolfing wanted me to make you aware that that item right now is going to be proposed to be deferred until September 13th. Again, item 39 and 48 will be deferred until September 13th. If there is really any dialogue, though, that you want to have with the council, you're more than welcome to come forward. Just basically two things we ask. I'm sorry, Michael? Those are the wrong numbers?
Numbers 39 and,
I'm following the lead of my council chair.
shouldn't do that.
Michael?
48? Item 48. 48, yeah.
Yep, 39 and 48.
Just 48?
Just 48? All right, thank you. We know what we're doing here, I swear. We really do. And just want to thank you for your patience. So item 48, I think the topic that a number of you folks are here about, and we commend you for that, that item is going to be deferred until September 13th. However, two things. If you do want to speak to the council, just two things. If you wouldn't mind, just tell us your name, please. And if you can keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, the council would appreciate that. Welcome. Welcome, John.
Mayor Huther, City Council members, I know you've heard a lot about this issue in the last couple of meetings, but my name is John Sahlberg. In the interest of transparency, I do live in the Oakview neighborhood and I'm a member of that association, but tonight I come to you as a board member of the Board of Directors of Hills of Rest Cemetery. I've been asked to speak by Cemetery Manager and Board President Phil Schmitz, who's unable to be here this evening. He did send an email to each of you yesterday. I hope you'd had an opportunity to take a look at that, detailing our drainage concerns. As stated in the email, Hills of Rest is an integral part of the flood plan management or flood management plan of Northeast Sioux Falls. My purpose tonight is to briefly show some photos to you of places runoff enters the cemetery and the impact that it has. The first picture you see there is the largest of the inlets into the cemetery. This drains runoff collected into 3 detention ponds on the north side of 10th Street, collects drainage from Sycamore Avenue, East 10th Street, and the Holiday Estates addition, flows into 1 detention pond on the east side of the cemetery. The runoff then makes its way through 3 additional detention ponds inside the cemetery. This pond fills quite quickly, and the next photo will show you the refuse that was left behind after the water receded from a 1.5-inch rainfall. As you can see, there's quite a bit of debris there. We have to clean that up each and every time. The next photo shows the drainage area between the Hy-Vee and Dakota Town properties. This area used to be quite a large swale, quite deep, which has been filled in by debris deposited by runoff. This caused the city to invest thousands of dollars in easements and underground collection pipes, and in turn, the loss of grave spaces to the cemetery. The fourth photo shows the path of drainage from the new Ridgeview Complex townhomes built on East 6th Street, just east of Cleveland Avenue. As you can see, the cemetery office and parking lot is pretty much a bullseye for this drainage. In fairness, the folks at Lloyd Properties have told us they are working on a solution to this particular problem. The next photo shows the inlet at the end of Locust Avenue, which is directly south of the property in question. There's another similarly sized inlet that is east from this one that drains from Stewart Avenue. These inlets are rather small, easily overwhelmed by runoff. Further to the east, water drains into the cemetery directly from the property adjacent to it. The sixth photo shows one of the surface water drainage areas mentioned in the email sent to you. As you can see, the dark area down the center. This area is unusable as grave space because the underlying soil never dries out. It is constantly wet from the runoff. The final photo is the damage to the retaining wall for the detention pond that sits next to the cemetery offices. This wall has 3 blowout valves that are meant to ease the pressure on the wall when the pond fills too quickly from excess runoff. We've had to reinsert these valves several times over the last 12 years. Despite the protection that these valves afford, as you can see, a significant crack has developed and a resultant leak has developed, and we're going to have to fix that. In conclusion, we respectfully ask that the proposed zoning change be remanded to the Planning Commission so that further study of the drainage impact on the proposed project can be made. In our opinion, because the cemetery is already inundated by drainage and runoff on all 4 sides of the cemetery, it simply cannot accept any additional runoff. On behalf of the families of the over 14,000 people interred at Hills of Rest Cemetery, I thank you for your attention this evening.
Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
I'm Roger Algersma. I forgot one point last week, so I'm going to stick to that and not repeat everything else I said. I want to talk about the impact on overall wealth and the impact that developments have on overall wealth in the community. There's a concept I learned in economics about overall net economic profit, where if you got a steel mill that's making $500,000 a year and it's affecting the health of the community by a negative $2 million, then you got a overall net profit of minus $1.5 million, even though the steel mill is doing just fine. So if you switch that to overall economic wealth, if a development, if you invest in something and there's a net increase in net worth or in property value, and it lowers the property values next to it, if you get an overall negative in wealth gain, then this project wasn't real good. And when you see how many neighbors get concerned, tells you how much property values are probably going to go down. So if there's a concept in banking that the overall wealth in a community is the biggest mover of the bank's wealth, and the bank's up and down. So if you get a development that's going to cause more harm than good, your bankers aren't going to like it, and the neighbors aren't going to like it, and some projects just plain aren't worthwhile. Thank you.
Thanks, Roger. Appreciate it. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Again, appreciate the opportunity just to speak very briefly tonight. I'd ask that the members of the Neighborhood Association who are here tonight please stand just to show our representation and respect to you, Mayor and Council, for what we're trying to achieve. Neighborhood associations are key and vital to our communities, and we're really proud of this city embracing neighborhoods, and this is just such a great opportunity, so thank you. Over the last week, many conversations have been had, not just for the sake of conversing, but conversation with city staff, members of council, neighbors, and developers. One common thread is we are all working to do what is best for the city. Have a deep empathy for the sellers of the Lacey Estates, the Browns, and seeking understanding to ensure there's a viable business plan for Lloyd's companies. In seeking to learn and understand due process, the Oakfield neighborhood feels in the best interest of all interested parties, the Browns, the Lloyds, and the city, starting over may be the most efficient use of time so a viable sale can occur swiftly, so a sound return on investment for Lloyds and acceptance from the 150 plus property owners that call Oakview neighborhood their home. So what are the options? Deferring till September, as we've heard, with the possibility it may go back to the Planning Commission and in turn come back to Council and could take up to 6 months or more. Remanding it back to the Planning Commission with stipulations to revisit something we believe is trying to match up A proposed high-density rezoning with a non-conforming property as we follow the Shape Sioux Falls plans and ordinances could foreseeably be 6 months. Moving to a second reading on July 5th and voting down this proposal, which would result in a 6-month pause. Moving to a second reading on July 5th and voting for the proposal and setting a precedent that truly works contrary to the vision of Shape Sioux Falls. And there may be other options too. In summary, as the facilitator of the group, we once again thank you for your leadership and active listening to focus on the proposed rezoning. Over 150 properties believe in the best interest of all the stakeholders, the Browns, Lloyds, and the neighborhood. We are encouraging you to vote down this proposed rezoning. Let's start over together to shape Oakview in the most efficient way possible. And we are committed to doing this right for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And good to have you folks here. Again, as Council Chair Rolfing stated this item that the first three folks are going to discuss, there's a really good chance it's going to get delayed until September 13th. So the comments about July 5th, I don't think that those are going to be relevant tonight. But again, certainly could change. Is that fair, Council Chair? Thank you very much. Welcome.
Scott Harrisman, Sioux Falls. I would have to say I would, after watching some of this unfold, I would be in total agreement with the two gentlemen that spoke. And instead of deferring this, it should be just sent back to the Planning Commission. There's lots of stuff that needs to be done, like a traffic study, drainage, and how many units. But I want to talk about something that was touched on earlier, and I know it's on the agenda, but I'm not going to talk about the moving of money from the enterprise and sales fund. I want to talk a little bit about enterprise funds. And we were told that we need to have an enterprise fund for our sewer and water so that we can take the money that we make from fees and we can put it back into water and building the infrastructure instead of taking it from the CIP. So my idea is this. It's a great idea and concept. So why don't we make the golf courses an enterprise fund? They make money. How about the entertainment facilities like the arena, the Orpheum, and the pavilion? How about the swimming pools? Why don't we make them enterprise funds? Why don't we take the money we make from these facilities, because we make money from them, and use that money to go back into maintenance and operating the facilities? Because right now we take these different facilities and we subsidize them, and there's never really an accounting going on there of how much money we're subsidizing. We take money from the CIP, we take money from the entertainment tax, we take money from fees, and we keep throwing money at all this stuff. Well, why not just create enterprise funds for these entities, and then we know how much money they're actually making and how much money they're actually losing. As for, I'm going to go on to another topic here, there's been some talk about the ambulance service. We had our doubts about Paramedics Plus when you guys approved them as the carrier, when we did some research on the consultant having very close ties with Paramedics Plus. We felt that was inappropriate for the consultant that helped pick Paramedics Plus, having that close of ties with them. They were also the most expensive service that was picked. That also concerned us. But now we're hearing that we're having problems. I've had two friends tell me they've had problems with billing with them. I've had, we've been hearing stories about them not showing up. And we also know that the Sioux Falls Fire Department has a very, very, very good record of showing up well before they do and having the skills to take care of these things. In Los Angeles, California, the ambulance service is public. And any money they make from their ambulance calls goes back into the service, which makes it better. So instead of paying a for-profit company to do ambulance service that's very expensive and not very good as of late, why not just have the fire department handle our ambulance service? And it could help subsidize the fire department through billing. It would be cheaper. And they're already showing up before the ambulance service already. So why have this separate for-profit company do this? It makes no sense at all. I also want to talk about a little bit about the lease for the Elmwood Golf Course. Again, you guys got a first reading tonight. I don't think that money should go towards Elmwood. I think that any money that's a lease, for leasing that property, that is city-owned property that the hotel is being built on. It's very similar to the Phillips Avenue Diner. They pay a lease to the city for where they're sitting. That money should go back into the general fund and not to the Elmwood. If Elmwood makes money, I don't know why they need to have that money also towards them. Of course, any money they make from fees from the golf courses would be theirs, of course. And I also like to thank Mike Cooper for his presentation about the rail traffic that I asked about last week. And it seems to me, as I understood it, that there's going to be more frequent trains that are shorter. So what that equates to me, it kind of sounds like that it's going to be the same. I mean, pretty much. If not worse, if there's more frequent trains. This is very disappointing for me. I've watched the rail relocation project from the beginning when Munson proposed it. And it was always the talk at the beginning was we were going to reduce rail traffic downtown. That's not happening. It's very disappointing. We're spending $27 million and we're not reducing rail traffic. On top of that, you're not going to be able to build residential there because the rail is still going to be running there. Who's going to live in an apartment 20 feet from a railroad track? It's about good, park or a parking lot is about all it's good for as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, moving forward, I hope something will change on this, but I wish more research would have been done in the actual rail traffic instead of just making it a second thought. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate that. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Very good. Thank you so much. We appreciate your attendance tonight. I will now move to, let's see.
Mr.
Item
Mayor,
number, yes.
could I ask for a point of personal privilege, if I can say it?
Sure.
Absolutely. I invited a couple of gentlemen this evening to just be here, and I wanted to do a quick introduction. Josh Walters and Justin Otisky were both students at University of Nebraska in Lincoln. They're in town working on an initiated measure and are part of the community, and I invited them tonight to see how we do business in Sioux Falls as our city government. So Josh is a Roosevelt graduate and a UNL graduate. Justin is an Afghanistan veteran and a student at UNL. So they're in the front row, and I'd just like to thank them for coming tonight to see how we do things in Sioux Falls.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome. Good to have you here. Councilor, thank you so much for the introduction. Folks, we'll now move on to item 24, please.
Point of order, Mr.
Or no,
Mayor.
let's go back to Councilor Urbanbach. Let's go back to your item. Thank you. Councilor 14.
Item 14, I just wondered if I could have Jamie Palmer come up, please, and I just had a couple of questions about this one. Jamie, this is a year-long retail malt beverage license for an organization called Sioux Falls Pilots, LLC. They're going to have baseball games at Augustana University starting this summer. Actually, this evening is one of them, I think. Could you talk about this license in particular? And can you tell me what the conditional use permit is for?
Well, I can't speak to the conditional use permit. That might be better from someone from planning. But I know that this license will be specifically used for the home games of the Sioux Falls Pilots. And if I remember right from the conditional use permit, they're going to place a fence around the ball field, and it will be sold at very limited times according to the security management plan that the applicant has submitted. And the applicant is here if you would like to hear from him as well.
You know, that might help, but hang on just one second, sure. Jamie. Can you tell me what's the length of this permit? It would be, when would it go into effect?
Well, a year-long license would be in effect just like any other. It would be in effect all year long.
From the time it's passed until, or like 20 days after it passes until a year later, right?
Correct. And then they could renew it annually.
So can you tell me, would there be any difference if we did not approve this? And I realize, again, that we're setting a date of hearing for Tuesday, July 5th. I just want to be clear on this. There have been concerns from the neighbors, and I just want to make sure I'm hitting this right. But if we did not approve that license on July 5th, would there be any reason to not, why would we not wait and do it in the fall? Does it make any difference? I mean, especially in light of item 38 where they're asking for special one-day permits for this whole summer anyway.
Well, I know that the special one-day permits don't cover all of their games. It was just enough to allow some time to hopefully get that license approved and to allow the state some time to get it issued. So we were kind of guesstimated it. She's running about 2 weeks behind, and once the council approves, I send the paperwork to the state. It takes about 2 weeks to actually get the license. So that's why they requested the special 1 days to kind of cover that time until they get their actual license.
Okay, if I might, Mr. Mayor, I don't intend to drag this on. I have questions about item 38. I will ask the applicant about them at that time, and given that, I thank you, Jamie, and I would move approval for item 14.
Councilor Urbanbach's made a motion for item 14, seconded by Council Chair Rolfing. If there is no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Kylie.
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you. Now we'll move on to item 24, please.
Item number 24, new 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for Kellen Marson and Darcy Fluitt, Wacko's Comedy Club, 3224 East 10th Street, cup not required. Item 25, new 2016 retail wine license for Kellen Marson and Darcy Floyd, Wacko's Comedy Club, 3224 East 10th Street, cup not required. Item 26, new 2016 retail wine license for Shadow Creek Spa, Southeastern Hair Design and Day Spa, 1701 East 69th Street, cup not required. Item number 27, new 2016 retail wine license for Pinball Incorporated, Executive Casino, 2218 South Minnesota Avenue, cup not required. New 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for Mother's Head LLC, Mama's Fried and Phillies, 111 and a half East 10th Street, cup not required. Item number 29, new 2016 retail wine license for TJT Incorporated, Joker's Casino, 2401 West 12th Street, with conditional use permit 4482-2016 being approved on May 4th, 2016. Item 30, new 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for TJT Incorporated, Joker's Casino, 2401 West 12th Street, with conditional use permit 4482-2016 being approved on May 4th, 2016. Item 31, request to include video lottery terminals with the new 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for TJT Incorporated, Joker's Casino, 2401 West 12th Street. Item 32, transfer of 2016 retail liquor license with Sunday sales and video lottery terminals from Commonwealth Gaming and Holdings Corp., Deuces 3, 5201 East Arrowhead Parkway, to Commonwealth Gaming and Holdings Corp., Deuces 3, 5117 East Arrowhead Parkway, with conditional use permit 4148-2016 being approved on March 2nd, 2016, pending final inspections per fire, health, and building services. Item 33, transfer of 2016 retail liquor license with Sunday sales and video lottery terminals from Sports Zone Incorporated, Rookies Sports Bar and Grill, 2616 South Louise Avenue, to Hooks South Dakota Incorporated, Tanner's Bar and Grill, 2616 South Louise Avenue, cup not required. Item 34, special one-day liquor license for the Zoological Society, Sioux Falls, to be operated at the Great Plains Zoo and Delbridge Museum of Natural History, 805 South Kiwanis Avenue, for the Jungle Jubilee on July 21st, 2016. Item 35, special one-day malt beverage license for Tea Storm Chasers to be operated at the Coliseum, 515 North Main Street, for a fundraiser on July 16, 2016. Item 36, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine license for Catering America, Chef Dominique's, to be operated at 101 South Main Avenue, Suite 100, for a social on June 23, 2016. Item 37, special one-day liquor license for IJK Incorporated, Stogie's Cigar Lounge, to be operated on Phillips Avenue between 10th and 11th Streets for Stogie's Stakeout on July 30th, 2016. Item 38, special one-day malt beverage licenses for American Legion, Sioux Falls Post 15, to be operated at Augustana University, Ronkin Baseball Field, 2505 South Grange Avenue, for Sioux Falls Pilot home games on June 25th, 29th, and 30th, July 1st, 6th, and 10th, 2016, and to authorize publication on June 10th, 2016.
Tom, thanks. Jamie?
Good evening, Jamie Palmer with licensing. Item 24 and 25 are new license requests for a new comedy club that will be located in the same location that was formerly occupied by Nitwit's Comedy Club. Item 26 is a new request to allow the applicant to offer complimentary wine during the spa services. Item 27 is a request to sell wine. This particular applicant currently holds a beer license at the same casino. Item 28 is a new request to sell beer at this eating establishment. Items 29 and 30 are new license requests for an establishment to be located at the same location that was formerly occupied by Jackpot Casino. If item 30 is approved, then additional criteria can be considered for item 31, and those are the number of establishments currently licensed for video lottery, the proximity of the business to other establishments licensed for video lottery, the type of business and manner in which the applicant proposes to operate it, the location of the business in relation to other businesses, residential areas, or activities within the same general area, the extent to which minors may frequent a business connected to the one proposed, and the effect the proposed business has on economic development. Item 32 is a transfer request which will move the license from an existing building on this property to room 1 of a new building which is currently under construction. On May 17th, the City Council approved new malt and wine licenses for room 2 of this new building with requirement of a full separation wall between the two licensed establishments, which are room 1 and room 2. Ron Bell is here tonight if you have any questions related to the building and or inspection processes. The criteria that you can consider for this transfer of an existing license is suitable person and suitable location. Item 33, the applicant is requesting deferral of this item until July 5th because some issues have arisen that they need to address before this vote can occur. Items 34 through 37 are all special one-day requests. Item 38 is also a special one-day request, which, if approved, will allow beer sales during 6 home games of the Sioux Falls Home Pilots baseball team. This request was received, it was delayed because it first had to go before the American Legion Board for their approval to be able to apply for this license, but it was still, I was still able to meet the publishing requirements on that. A security management plan has been approved by the PD or the police department, and it was made available to you on SIRE. And the applicant is present tonight if you have any questions for him. So,
Jamie, thank you. And you said item 33 wish to be deferred. Was that correct?
Correct. Till July 5th, if possible.
And the date of that deferral was again till what day?
July 5th.
July 5th. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move to defer item 33 to July 5th.
Second.
It's been a motion to move item 33 or defer it to July 5th, and that was made by Councilor Bach, seconded by Councilor Erickson. Thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley? Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Councilor Nitzert, it's my understanding that you'd like to vote on item number 32 separately. Is that correct?
31. Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Erickson?
I'll make a motion to approve items 24 through 30, 34 through 37.
That's fine.
Councilor Erickson has made a motion to approve items 24 through 30 and items 34 through 37.
Second, Erpenbach.
And that has been seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. Councilor Erickson, any comments?
No.
Very good. If there's no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley? Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Councilors? Councilor Erickson?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I may. I just have a couple questions on 31 and 32.
Thank you.
Possibly Ron Bell. Is the applicant here by chance for 31 and 32?
31 is here. 32 I have not seen, and I did speak to them on the phone, and they weren't totally positive if they could be here tonight.
I'm not sure I wanted to pull 31. I'm sorry. I think it was just 32 was the one I intended to pull.
Yeah.
I would move to approve item 31.
My
Second,
apologies.
Starr.
Been a motion to approve item 31 by Councilor Buck, seconded by Councilor Starr. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley?
That has passed 8-0. Thank you. Councilor Erickson?
Just on 32, is that the applicant is not here?
No, and he wasn't sure if they were going to try to be here, but he said he wasn't totally positive that they
If I
could be
may,
here
Mr.
tonight.
Mayor, if we delay, how does that impact the business at this point? They're not opening right now if we delay it?
No, as far as I know, the building is under construction, and so they wouldn't even, it wouldn't, I have no idea when the building's due to be done. I don't know.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, if I may, I did request asking them to be here for this meeting. We have had some additional conversations just with the issues that we've had in the past. There have been a few other issues arising just with even asking questions as far as not having an actual separation of the two buildings and having a chain link fence or something that's not enclosed. Recently, there was some inspections done of several different casinos that are owned by the same owners. While there were not physically people smoking, there were ashtrays with cigarette butts in many of the establishments. And so I do have some concerns that we did make our intentions very clear just a few weeks ago as far as cleaning up their act in regards to smoking and what is allowed in the casinos. I'm really disappointed they're not here today, and so I'm going to make a motion to delay this one until July 12th. At that time, I'm not sure I'm going to be here on the 5th. I'm supposed to be out of town, so I'd like to be here for that conversation. So I'd ask that we delay that until Tuesday, July 12th, and I hope they're here.
I second that motion.
Item to July 12th by Councilor Erickson, seconded by Councilor Vice Chair Kiley. Any further discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Kiley.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 39, please.
Point of order.
30.
Item 38.
38.
38.
Baseball one.
Oh, yes, the baseball one. Item 38.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You bet.
I did have conversations with people in the neighborhood. This is a new idea to sell malt beverages at the baseball field at Augustana, and so I did have a couple of questions for the applicant, if I could, Jamie.
Don Karas?
Don, you and I talked this afternoon, and I appreciate you coming in and just kind of walking through this with us for a few minutes. As you and I noted this afternoon, the neighborhood is just a little bit nervous. They do experience some issues with college kids in that area, and not to disparage any, higher education in Sioux Falls at all, but Councilor Rolfing. And so if you would talk just a little bit about, and I'm glad you shared with us the security plan. If you would just talk through how you plan this to work and what might be the expectations for folks that are attending the Sioux Falls Pilots games.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. First and foremost, we are going to have our staff be very sensitive to all issues pertaining to the selling of the beer. We are going to segregate the beer sales from the rest of the concession sales. There'll be a separate physical location for that. And anyone that wishes to have a cold beer on a hot summer's night, baseball night, will be able to do so, but they'll only be able to purchase 2 at any one stop. We will also take very great care and train our staff to watch out for overconsumption. Certainly no alcoholic beverages, beer included obviously, will be allowed to come into the stadium. We will have our staff at each one of the gates, entrance gates and exit gates. Let me back up a second. About 3 weeks ago, Augustana built an enclosure fence all around the baseball field with limited gates for access. And at those gates, there will be our people, our staff, positioned for all of, to make sure that that is properly vetted. Anyone who purchases a beer also will be given a bracelet, probably a yellow bracelet, so that we can see who's drinking. And if someone is drinking without the bracelet, we will immediately question them and ask for their ID. And if they cannot produce that, they will be held for further police escort. We are very sensitive to Augustana's sensitivity to all of this, because this is the first time that they will be allowing this type of activity on their campus. And we hope that within our plan, which you all have access to, I understand, or I have hard copies that I could give to you if you wish, we have taken the proper care to address all your concerns. Is there anything specifically that you're
Talk specifically about, I've purchased the beer, I have the bracelet, and I'm walking out to the street to my car, and I still have that beer in my hand. What happens?
Well, you will not be able to exit from the ballpark, the fenced ballpark, with a beer in your hand, because we will have those staffed at any of the exit points, and that will not be allowed.
And then the other thing is the end of sales. Remind us when you'll end sales.
We have our firm policy is that no beer will be sold on a 9-inning game, the beginning of the 8th inning, which is pretty common, I think, in a lot of baseball venues. If it's a doubleheader, which will be 2 7-inning games, that last beer sold will be the end of the 5th, nothing sold for the beginning of the 6th.
Okay. And then if I might, just 2 more questions, Mr. Mayor. One, this is only during the baseball season, is that correct?
That is correct. It's a short baseball season, a 2-month season, which we're about a quarter of the way into. And in fact, there's a game tonight that I'd like to get out to help see and be a participant of. There are about 22 home games, which encompass about 15 home dates, because they're doubleheaders, et cetera. So it's a very short season, and we're, like I said, a quarter of the way through. This is our first season too, so we're hopeful to get it up and running and be a very big success. I might also add, this afternoon we had the Chamber of Commerce come and have a ribbon cutting ceremony for us, and they did a wonderful job, and we were very appreciative of that.
Great. I'm really glad that that's happening. My last question then is regarding that annual license that we'll have a hearing on next week.
Correct.
Do you need that for this summer?
Yes, we do, desperately.
Okay, so the one-day licenses that we're talking about specifically, item 38 on the agenda right now, is just to get you through part of the season,
right,
and then that annual permit would kick in, assuming it passes. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Any other questions?
Council Chair Rolfing.
Yes, a couple, just very quickly, tell us who's playing this. Is this my brother, the Old Timers, or is it what?
Oh, is your brother one of the old-time senior guys?
One of those old guys that plays.
I know your brother. I play against him and with him all the time. Well, very good. No, it is not. It is not the senior guys. It is just the college-age ball players, actually from around the country, that gives them an opportunity to play in a very competitive new league. It's the Corn Belt Collegiate League. 4 teams out of Omaha, 2 teams out of Northwest Iowa, and the 1 in Sioux Falls. Without this new league, most of these players who want to continue their baseball development and showcase to moving on to Division I schools or pro scouts, whatever, they would have to go 1,000 miles to do so. Go up to Minnesota Northwoods League, Wisconsin, Michigan. They'd have to go to Cape Cod League, New England. So this allows these players to, at least the local players, of which we have on our pilots team, 5 from Augustana, 3 from University of Sioux Falls, 2 from South Dakota State, 2 from Creighton. I mean, it's really a high quality, competitive league, and we're on a 7-game winning streak. So
good.
Yeah.
I would note that this is after school is out at Augustana, because everybody knows there's never any beer allowed on Augustana's campus.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
a quick
Sir.
question. What's your arrangement? Why are you using the American Legion as the provider? And then will your permanent license that you're requesting be for the pilots directly, or will it still be a partnership with the Legion?
To answer your last question first, it'll be solely with the pilots, and it'll be a year-long license that we'll seek to get a renewal for, we hope. The reason that we brought the American Legion in, and they've been very kind to do so with us, is I was brought into this process with the team very late. It wasn't until May that I found out that this whole thing was crashing. And we had 22 ball players from around the country, including 5 from Oregon, 1 from New York, that were coming into Sioux Falls to play baseball. And in good conscience, I couldn't let them lose their season. So I picked up the ball, so to speak, in late May and found out that none of the applications had been put forward to the licensing department on a timely basis to allow us to have that beer sales opportunity at the beginning of our season. The earliest we can do so is what you see will be sometime in middle to late July. So I asked Jamie, is there any other way that we can possibly get the opportunity to sell beer? And she said, well, if you have someone that has an existing beer license and is willing to go with you, then perhaps we can get the council to allow you to do so. And so my first thought was the American Legion, because they're very much a big sponsor of baseball, Americana. So I went before the executive committee of the American Legion and told them what we were doing, including our intent to have a military appreciation night where we're going to bring all of the branches of the armed services in and have some pageantry and so forth. And they couldn't be a nicer group and said, yes, we'd be happy to allow you to, we'd be happy to work with you in getting a beer license that would work for you till you get your own.
Thank you.
Councilor Kelly.
This is a wood bat?
Wood bat.
Wow.
This is to allow the, yeah.
Reason alone, I think I'd like to move approval.
Second.
Been a motion to approve by Councilor Kiley.
Actually, I do like the separation.
Has been said by Councilor Urbanbach. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Item 39, please.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Item 39, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of the city by adding one legal description to Section 37.038, providing for rural service district lands.
Good evening. I'm Mike Cooper with Planning and Building Services. We have two items tonight on the council agenda that we would like to request deferral. Item 39 and item 52 both pertain to property at the southeast corner of 57th and Southeastern. We've been working with the owners and their development representative on an annexation timeline. They were not able to be at the council meeting tonight, and so on their behalf, we're going to be requesting deferral of items 39 and 52 to the July 5th City Council meeting.
So moved, Erpenbach.
Second,
Tom, because we didn't read item 52 into the record, we can't defer that one yet. Would you mind? Can you read that one into the...
Item 52, deferred from the City Council meeting on June 7, 2016. A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, annexation 3455-2015, Ryder-Weber land, East 57th Street and South Southeastern Avenue.
Councilor Bach, you made a motion to defer both items. Is that correct?
Did, sir.
And Council Kiley, you made the second. Are you okay with that?
Correct.
Very good. If there's no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. That is passed 8-0. Item 40.
Item 40, first reading, an ordinance of the city of, set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 40. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at southeast corner of West 57th Street and South Rawling Green Avenue from the LW Live Work District to the C3 Commercial Community District, petition number 4459-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
Diane?
Good evening, Diane DeCoyer with Planning. The applicant here is Reggie Kuipers, and the owner is Mike Johnson. The location is the southeast corner of West 57th and South Rolling Green Avenue. The size of the parcel is 6 acres, and the purpose is to combine the four parcels together. To create a retail development that you can see up on the screen. And I can answer any questions if you have any.
Diane, thank you. Council, would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th for this item?
So moved. Second.
Councilor Vice Chair Kiley has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Nitzert. Councilor, did you have a comment? No, very good. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Council, thank you. That is passed 8-0. Item 41.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 41, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at northwest corner of East 69th Street and South Sycamore Avenue from the AG Agriculture District to the RA1 Apartment Residential, Low Density RA3 Apartment Residential, High Density LW Live Work and C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar Districts, petition number 4340-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
The applicant and owner for this is Clint Ackerman. This is located at the northwest corner of East 69th Street and South Sycamore Avenue. The size of the parcel is 35 acres. The breakdown on that is RA1, which is low-density apartments, just under 15 acres. High-density apartments, RA3, just under 9 acres. Live Work, just under 6 acres. C2 is 2.5 acres, and conservation is 1.25 acres. The purpose, obviously, is for development of retail, office, and multifamily residential.
Diane, thank you. Council, would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th for this particular item?
So moved.
Second.
Council Vice Chair Kiley's made that motion, and seconded by Council Chair Rolfing. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 42.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 42, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property south of West 57th Street, west of South Louise Avenue, and east of South Rowling Green Avenue from the LW Live Work District to the C3 Commercial Community District, petition number 4419-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
The applicant here is John Engelhardt, and the owner is 57th Street Partners. The size of the parcel is 11.3 acres, and the purpose is to construct retail buildings on both lots. Development of these parcels will not be allowed until 59th Street is constructed in the future.
Thank you, Diane. Councilors, would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th for item 42?
So
Councilor Nitzert, thank you.
Second, Erickson.
Thank you, Councilor Erickson. Appreciate that second. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 43.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 43, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property north of West 26th Street and east of South St. Michael's Circle from the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District to the C3 Commercial Community District, including conditions as allowed in Section 160.650E, placing limitations on regulations within the RE4 form, petition number 4607-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
The applicant is Paul Reynolds with RCM Services, and the owner is Tires. The size of the parcel is 2.3 acres. The purpose is to construct a 28,400 square foot tire store. This is a conditional rezone not to exceed 30,000 square feet. The applicant, who is also in the process of rezoning about 10 feet to the west of his property to incorporate that to make the building and the parking lot layout work. So the rezone of that'll be incorporated will go before Planning Commission in July, and you'll see that again in August.
Thanks, Diane. Councilors, would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for this item for July 5th?
So moved, Rolfing.
Second, Selberg.
Council Chair Rolfing has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Selberg. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Councilors, thank you. That has passed 8-0. Item 44.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 44. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 301 South St. Paul Avenue from the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District to the RT1 Single Family Residential Traditional District, petition number 4635-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
The applicant is Wayne Wagner, and the owner is Affordable Housing Solutions. The location is 301 South St. Paul Avenue. The size of the parcel is 0.13 acres, and the purpose is to construct a single-family dwelling on a 44-foot wide lot.
Diane, thank you. Councilors, would anybody want to set a hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th for this particular item?
So moved.
Seconder.
Council Vice Chair Kiley's made that motion, seconded by Councilor Erickson. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 45.
Item 45, set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 45. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property east of South Southeastern Avenue, south of East 57th Street, and west of South Greystone Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential, Suburban, and RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential, Suburban Districts to the RS Single Family Residential, Suburban, and RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential, Suburban Districts, petition number 4637-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
The applicant is Brady Hyde, and the owner is Whispering Woods, LLC. The location is south of East 57th Street and east of South Southeastern Avenue. The size of the parcel is 16.9 acres, and the purpose is to construct single-family and twin homes. There's approximately 9.8 acres of single-family and 7.1 of twin homes.
Thanks, Diane. Councilor Erickson.
Do you, if I may, Diane, do you have another map of the larger parcel of what that will look like, or is that just the rezone for now and then?
We have this parcel one, but
That
that's
one right there. That's what I
yeah.
wanted to see. Okay, so my question is, if I may, Mr. Mayor, we have the big square with the kind of hang down, and then we have the side there. Where are those roads? Because it's kind of just out there in La La Land. So where are those roads connecting to? Because the other rezones aren't being done yet at that time, or are they already done? What am I missing?
They are already done. Those are staying as single-family lots.
Okay.
It's just that they're switching the twin homes and the single-family.
Okay.
Just flip-flopping those two for right now.
Okay, I just was concerned with the access roads connecting, et cetera. So makes sense to me now. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll move to approve.
Councilor Erickson, thank you. Councilor Erickson has made a motion to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th. Thank you, Councilor.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Vice Chair Kiley. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Council, thank you. That has passed 8-0. Item 46.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 46. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 2601 East 8th Street from the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District to the RA2 Apartment Residential Moderate Density District, petition number 4661-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
The applicant and owner here is Erica Beck with Lloyd Companies. The location is north of East 10th Street, west of South Cleveland Avenue, and east of I-229. Size of the parcel is 1.27 acres, and the purpose is to construct an apartment building with 42 units.
Diane, thank you.
Move to approve.
Thank you,
Move to set the
Councilor.
date of hearing.
Councilor Buck, thank you. Councilor Buck would like to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th. Thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Council Chair Rolfing. There is no discussion. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson? Yes. Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 47.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 47. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 1217 East Rice Street from the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District to the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District, petition number 4665-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
The applicant and owner here is Dean Wilson. This is located at 1217 East Rice, which is just 1 block east of North Cliff Avenue. The size of the parcel is 1.3 acres, and the purpose is to combine this lot with the adjacent lots he owns to the west for motor vehicle sales.
Thanks, Diane.
Move to set the date of hearing to July 5th.
Second, Selberg.
Councilor Erickson's made that motion to set the date of hearing. Seconded by Councilor Selberg. There will no discussion. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you. Item 48.
Mr. Mayor, I need to recuse myself.
Yes, thank you. Councilor Selberg is going to recuse himself from this. Diane?
I need to read. Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 48. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 600 North Bonson Avenue from the AG Agriculture District to the RA1 Apartment Residential Low Density and RA2 Apartment Residential Moderate Density Districts, petition number 4677-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
Thanks, Tom. Diane?
The applicant here is Erica Beck with Lloyd Companies. The owner is Lois Brown. Again, it's located at the northeast corner of North Bonson Avenue and East 6th Street. The size of the parcel is 6 acres. The purpose is to construct 6 apartments with 143 units. The applicant is reviewing some of the neighborhood concerns and issues with this rezone and is requesting a second reading to be deferred until September 13th.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor?
I would like to make a motion to remand this back to the Planning Commission.
Second.
There's been a motion to remand this back to the Planning Commission by Councilor Staley, seconded by Councilor Nitzert. Is that right? Thank you. Discussion?
Do I get to speak to? Yes. Well, I would like to say that we've been hearing about this and listening to the residents for several weeks now, and I would like to make an appeal to my fellow council members to consider remanding this back to the Planning Commission. I have several reasons that I think that this issue needs to be readdressed. First of all, I think that there is a density issue for that location, with it being the proximity being so close to the residential area and the elementary school. I feel that the water detention issues need to be addressed more deeply than they have been, and I do think that they deserve due diligence of a traffic study. So for the benefit of all involved, I would like to send this back now. I don't want anyone, including Lois Brown, the owner, or the Lloyd Company, or the residents to have to wait until September to have to deal with this issue. So I would ask that people, my fellow council members would vote yes on this.
Councilor Chair Rolfing?
Yes. Mike Cooper, did you want to speak to this? I would ask that we ask Mike to give us a little background.
Okay. Councilor, thank you.
Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services. Based on what the developer is saying and what the neighborhood is saying and the issues that they would like us to go back and look at, the density of the apartments, the traffic, the drainage, that's going to take some time. The developer is going to be working with their engineers, meeting with the neighbors, meeting with city staff. And so potentially the earliest it could go to the Planning Commission would be at their October meeting. If we set the second reading for September 13th, it could still go to the October Planning Commission if that was the decision of the City Council based on what was presented to you. So I think that would be the process that would probably have a better outcome, and that's what the staff would recommend.
Could I ask one more question?
Yes, thank you, Council Chair.
Mike, for my benefit, what are we going to gain or what would happen? And I don't know the answer to this if we did remand it.
We would still go through the same discussion with the developer, with the neighbors. I've met with some of them very briefly tonight. You know, we've gone through these land use issues before, and sometimes if it takes a little longer, we can come out with a better final solution. And so we would work with the developer and their engineers to address the project. We would work with the neighborhood and have additional meetings. And that's what we would.
Okay, thank you.
Could I?
Thank you. Councilor Nitzert?
My position would be that if there's any substantive change that's made to the plan, which there's going to have to be to come to some sort of consensus, it's going to have to be remanded to the Planning Commission anyway. If we add conditions, if we change a zoning district, you have to start over. So let's just remand it and be done with it and go back to the beginning versus having this delay. Because if they have a 3-month delay, we come in September and they say we've agreed to a new zoning district, we have to remand it anyway, and then we have add a few more months. I say let's just go back to the drawing board. This is not going to work.
Mike, thoughts?
Again, the Planning Commission, based on the amount of information that would have to be put together by the developer to address the neighborhood concerns, they're saying that they want until the middle of September to do that. Well, then that means the Planning Commission is not going to be able to vote on it until October. If it comes to you on September 13th and you say, let's going to go back to Planning Commission, we're still talking October meeting. We have not lost any time.
Councilor Mbach.
You know, and I guess the thing that comes to mind for me is that, you know, the buck stops here. We're the city council, and we get to make these final decisions. And sometimes they're not so easy. And sometimes they come to us from the Planning Commission as, you know, the Planning Commission said 6-0. They recommend we do this, and we're saying, maybe not. That's our job. And I would encourage no vote on this, and that we would defer it to September 13th.
Council Vice Chair Kiley.
Well, the other comment that I'd like to make is we've heard a lot of concerns from the neighbors, however, we have not had a chance to hear anything from our city experts as well, too. So I would agree with Councilor Urbanbach that it would be premature at this point in time to remand it back to to the Planning Commission. I'd urge a no vote.
Councilor Erickson.
The point I want to make, we have heard from the neighbors, and we've had these conversations, and I think it's exciting to see a neighborhood band together on an issue together. It's exciting to see that energy. At the same time, we are continuing the conversation regardless of the way this vote does go to the 13th or the Planning Commission. Please know that your voices are being heard and that I don't want to say winning, but you're delaying it. You have a seat at the table, you have a voice, and that's what's so important, is to be able to work with the city staff as well as the developer. At the end, September 13th, we might come back and say, yeah, we're not ready for this. We've done it before. Canterbury Heights is a prime example that we walked through that development for 2 years. I don't wish that upon anybody, but it is something that we continue to work with and walk alongside. So please know we are hearing you. We understand what you're going through. Many of us have been through some of these same things in our time living here in Sioux Falls, but it's not just moving forward. It's slowing the pace down. It's having the conversation. It's making sure that everything is done in a diligent manner and that your concerns are being heard, and continue to do what you're doing. I appreciate hearing your voice and everyone here. I will support the motion to delay it until the 13th of September. At that point, we can still kick it out. We do have other options. The key is we have options. And so just keep that in mind as we continue, as the time continues to click on.
Well, and then going back to the fact that we're still talking about we may put it back to the Planning Commission then, is that, I'm hearing, well, so that's why I would say I think that it should happen now. And my understanding of how the zoning issue works is that this is how it's going to be. At the end of the day, Lloyd Company can really do whatever they want to. They can have all the discussions that they want to about how it's going to be changed, but they're not going to have anything legally binding to have any of these things really addressed. And
Mike,
that's my concern.
Could you explain this to Councilor Staley and the rest of the team, please?
No, the zoning ordinance is very specific of what kind of land uses are allowed. So ultimately, it's the city council that has the final say on what the land use is going to be. And that's why we want to come back with a better development plan that hopefully we can all support. That's the goal.
Councilor Neisert.
2 final points. Number 1, if there's a substantive change, it has to go back to the Planning Commission. That's the law. We get the final authority, but it has to go to the Planning Commission. Let's just get it done. My other comment is I think this is anecdotal and I was a big supporter of Shaped Places, but I said that it wouldn't be perfect. It was 300 some pages. Staff said it wouldn't be perfect. And I think this is an example of where we need to look at where we can make a change, because when you're talking about smaller projects, it's not such a big deal, but when you have a large development close to existing uses, having simply a napkin sketch or a box and just saying, is this the appropriate land use or not? It's not enough. It's not enough for me sitting on the council. It's not enough for the neighbors. Essentially, we just have to vote and it's out of our hands. And then from there, it's all administrative. We need to have a second bite at the apple on the big ones, commercial or something like this, where we can add conditions or have a look at the final plan. And I think that's what's really worrying the neighbors, is that, I mean, once it's passed, I mean, there's no more input.
Councilor Buck.
I'm going to make a substitute motion, Mr. Mayor. I move to set the hearing and second reading for Tuesday, September 13th, 2016.
Second, Erickson.
There's been a substitute motion to set the date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, September 13th by Councilor Buck, seconded by Councilor Erickson. Any further discussion? Councilor Starr?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I want to first thank the neighborhood for all they've done. I'll stick to the deferral motion, but I think this is going to give us a good opportunity as a neighborhood. Full disclosure, I live in this area, have had a chance to meet with the neighbors, met with the Lloyds as well, met with the Browns through the whole process. Thank you. There's a lot of good things that are being done in our neighborhood. We've already seen some changes because of your activism, whether it's working with the police department in the Annie Sullivan neighborhood with some crime that the police department's been able to handle. They've heard some concerns. They've heard some traffic concerns in our area of town to do that. I urge you and me as well, as part of the process, that we work with the Lloyd companies and the development to, over the rest of the summer, to have a good idea of where we're moving forward and look at what the options that are presented by the developer, and then come back after school starts and really get to hammer this out and come up with the final decision. So I'm going to support deferring this item to the 15th of September, or the 13th.
Thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
No.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
No.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
That is passed 5-2. Thank you. Item 49, I'm sorry.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 49, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property south of West 69th Street and west of South Beale Avenue from the AG Agriculture District to the RR Single Family Residential Rural District, petition number 4693-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
Diane?
The applicant and owner here is Doug Johnson. Location is south of West 69th Street and west of the future South Beale Avenue. The size of the parcel is 5 acres, and the purpose is to construct a single-family home.
Diane, thank you.
Oh, okay. Oh, man.
Councilors, would anybody want to set a date of hearing, second reading for Tuesday, July 5th for this particular item?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Councilor Kiley made that motion, second, I think, by Councilor Erpenbach. If there's no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing? Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you. Item 50.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 50. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, authorizing the issuance, execution, and delivery of its wastewater system revenue bonds and related loan documents, pledging a portion of the wastewater system revenue of the city to the payment of said wastewater system revenue bonds.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Trent Lubbers with Public Works. Loan 37 is part of our SRF process. Director Cotter took you through a longer presentation last week during informational. Loan 37 is the funding process that we use to fund the Foundation Park Lift Station and Gravity Sewer. Those loan funds will be $8.838 million for 10 years at 1.25%. What this ordinance does is it approves the bonding mechanism for us to pledge revenue for that bond. This project also qualifies for non-point source funding. The non-point source program is a grant program for us to get a lower interest rate. That money comes back to us from the state. We invest that money into the Big Sioux watershed north of Sioux Falls to improve the water quality. And we've already seen results in water quality. We've seen improvement in fecal coliform bacteria and also suspended solids. And I have Director Turback and Sherry Roeder, our bond counsel, are here if you have any specific questions.
Trent, great job. Thank you. Councilors, any questions? If not, would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th?
Moved. Rolfing.
Council Chair, thank you.
Second.
Councilor Erickson, thank you as well. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 51.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 51, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota approving a hotel ground lease agreement being a 50-year lease of city park land located at Elmwood Golf Course between the city and Elmwood Hospitality, LLC.
Good evening, Council. Dustin Powers with the Economic Development Division of the Community Development Department. Tonight, we have a first reading for the lease agreement between Elmwood Hospitality and the City of Sioux Falls to build a hotel and restaurant development at the Elmwood Golf Course. This agreement has been a long time in the making and has been a joint effort with the Community Development Department, the Parks Department, the attorneys, and finance. All those departments have representatives here tonight to answer any questions you may have on this agreement. We are going to go into a little bit of detail on the agreement, so bear with me. So there is quite a bit of information to share with you tonight. I'd also like to recognize Kevin Weisbeck and Aaron Waldo, who are representing Elmwood Hospitality, the developers, and who this agreement is with. So just to give you a little bit of the site location that we'll be looking at, this is on the Elmwood Golf Course property. It's located on the southeast edge of Elmwood Golf Course. You can see that the airport is to the north, the golf course is to the north, and then the event center, Howard Wood Field, Convention Center, and Canary Stadium are all to the southeast there. This property is 3.9 acres and has been used as really open space as part of the golf course. Currently houses a maintenance shed that we'll get a little bit into as we get into the discussion here with the agreement. Just to give you a little bit of background on how we got here today, in the winter of 2013 we issued a RFP, a request for proposals for a hotel development and to attract development to this site. Later in 2014 we awarded Fairway Suites LLC, who is a company out of Kansas City that really acts as a site selector for projects like this, and they were brought on to help us find a developer that could accomplish the hotel development on the site. They were able to find Quest Development. Quest Development is out of Aberdeen, South Dakota, and in the agreement and going forward will be referred to as Elmwood Hospitality LLC as part of this project. Once Elmwood Hospitality was brought on board, they needed to find a hotel franchise as well as a restaurant franchise that would be suitable for the site. And after an extensive search, they were able to bring in a Holiday Inn Hotel and Suites as well as the Crooked Pint Ale House as the restaurant. And so the image on the screen is a rendering that we showed during an announcement that we had back in March announcing those two franchises for the development. With this, this property is considered park property, and as part of that, any development that happens on a park property has to follow certain rules and regulations, and making sure that any development on that property maintains a park uses or a park purpose. And so back in April, we took a park purpose resolution for this development. The park board recommended that this use and development would represent a park purpose for the property. That resolution was later brought to the city council, and the city council also agreed and approved that resolution for the park purpose. Later in April and in May, a rezoning application came for this property to prepare the site for the development, as well as a resolution to allow us to lease the property. And both of those were approved by the city council at that time as well. A little bit more about the development itself. So the Holiday Inn Hotel and Suites will have approximately 116 rooms in this hotel. It will have over 3,000 square feet of meeting room space, and will house the first ever South Dakota Golf Association Hall of Fame. So this is one of those things that were incorporated into the development to really help tie this into the Elmwood Golf Course. Crooked Pint Ale House is a restaurant that has 4 locations in Minnesota, and this will be their first in South Dakota, and they'll have approximately 200 seats for people. When we were working on this development and working with the developer, we really wanted to accomplish getting a hotel, restaurant, and meeting room space in this development. As you all know, we've been trying to work on the bids for the NCAA for a long time, and we've had great success with a lot of the NCAA tournaments here in Sioux Falls. The one that we're missing is the NCAA Division I men's basketball. And one of the requirements that we needed was to get more full-service hotels in Sioux Falls. And this hotel, with what they're providing with the rooms, the meeting room space, as well as the food and beverage that will be on site, are all something that will strengthen our applications in the future with the NCAA. So to get a little bit more into just the lease agreement that's in front of you and the ordinance approving it, this is a 50-year term lease that's dictated by state statute, limits leases on park property to a 50-year term, but the agreement does allow us to revisit this during the end of, or any time during the term of that, to look at renewing that term if at the time. The rental fee is what the city will receive as part of this project. 1.5% of gross receipts from the hotel will come to the city, as well as 1% of the net receipts from the restaurant. Those rental payments will be submitted monthly as a normal financial statement that will come to the city. The developer will also be responsible for providing all maintenance to the improvements, as well as the entire leased area that they'll be maintaining. Within the agreement, we have in there that they would coordinate with the South Dakota Golf Association for that first ever Golf Association Hall of Fame. We really envision that to look something like the Basketball Hall of Fame out at the Pentagon. So really trying to create something that will be an attraction to the visitors, the golfers, and anyone else that visits the site. Also, within the hotel, there will be new office space for the First Tee program. Currently, the First Tee program is located in the Elmwood Golf Course Clubhouse in kind of a small cubicle. That program is really uses the game of golf to promote youth development, and they've had great success with that program. This will provide them an opportunity to have new office space and be able to coordinate with the youth in a more suitable location. And then also coordination with the Elmwood Golf Course management team. So Dakota Golf Management manages the 3 golf courses at the city, and they will work with different things about cross-promotion of the golf course with the hotel, and we'll get into a couple of those things later on in the presentation. A few of the other items within the agreement are site prep. So this site is not necessarily ready for development, so there needs to be some prep work, and the developer, and through the negotiations, will be responsible for the following things. There is the maintenance building that's currently on the property, so relocating that maintenance building. There's a site to the north on the Elmwood Golf Course where the other maintenance buildings are located, and that's where this one would be relocated as well. Pay for the relocation of the underground electric. There's a underground electrical line that runs right through the middle of the site. To build the hotel where it's positioned, we'll need to move that. Pay for site improvements. Fencing is the main one for the County Correction Center property. So you'll see another agreement during the second reading. It'll be a resolution approving an agreement that'll come in front of you for a shared parking agreement with the county. They own the property to the east of this. What we are looking for in that agreement, they have agreed to allow us to use their empty parking lot for staging, as well as some overflow parking once it first opens, just to meet the demand. And so that agreement will have more details on it, but if there's any questions about that later, please let me know. And then the last thing is the surveying and platting of the property. So both a survey and a plat needed to be accomplished, and that'll be the responsibility of the developer as well. So with all of these, there's obviously a large number of costs that are associated with these improvements. The developer is responsible for the first $150,000 of improvements on their own. The city will grant a credit toward the improvement of the cost beyond $150,000, not to exceed $100,000. So that $150,000 to the $250,000 range is where the city will grant a credit as part of their payments once those payments start coming in. And that credit would not exceed $1,500 a month. And then any cost beyond the $250,000 would fall back on the developer again. A few more just topics in the lease agreement is the property is being leased as is. The use of the property cannot interfere with the golf course or the surrounding recreational area. No initial construction can begin until a restoration deposit is made, and then also proof of financial commitment is shared. So a little bit with the restoration deposit. When we were looking at this project, once the building is built, there's going to be a multi-million-dollar asset that's going to be sitting on city property, and it's going to be beneficial to both the city and the developer to keep that property operational. One of the areas we were looking at, though, was the construction phase and what's going to help us during that phase in case something does happen. So a $100,000 restoration deposit is required. They'll be required to submit that prior to any construction, and that provides us some more assurance during the construction phase and to protect the city a little bit more on that during that time period. Once there is substantial completion of the project, the deposit would be returned to the developer. So we wanted to show some projected fiscal benefits over the 50 years that this project will bring to the city. The main one that the lease agreement does address is the rental fee. So that's that 1.5% of gross from the hotel and that 1% of net receipts from the restaurant. We're looking at approximately about a $40,000 payment that would come for the entire year. So those would be coming in monthly, but the cumulative for the year would be around $40,000. In the first few years. Obviously, as time grows, they'll improve their sales and improve what they're bringing in. But this kind of shows a breakdown of what all would also be benefiting the city, as well as the county, school districts, and the state. So all the property taxes collected, the city sales tax, state sales tax, city hotel bid tax, lodging, entertainment, and tourism taxes. So on a yearly basis, we could easily be seeing $500,000 to $800,000 of fiscal impact coming to the community. Over the 50 years, you can see what the total would bring over cumulatively. With the rental fee, one thing I wanted to point out with this, the rental fee is indicated to go to the parks so that for the benefit of the golf courses. So the rental fee that will be collected, so the $45,000, $40,000 a year, the $2 to $3 million over the 50 years, has been set aside or will go to the benefit of the golf courses and keeping those maintained. It'll be able to allow them to do improvements that maybe have been lacking or really just to continue to enhance the golfer experience as time goes on. All of the other taxes associated with this would all be collected as a normal way of collection. So just some of the benefits to the Elmwood Golf Course, we've already kind of highlighted some of these, but the revenue generated from the rental fee would help support the enhancement of the golf experience. Some of that coordination with the Dakota Golf Management and the hotel could be stay and play packages, things that promote both the hotel and the golf course. The new high-quality food service and banquet facilities that this will offer will, provide us, better opportunity for those NCAA tournaments, but also golfing outings, any other outing that needs a large number of meeting room space. 3,000 square feet of meeting room space will be available at this facility. Special events, tournaments, group outings are all things that will be cross-promoted between the golf course and the hotel. And then the partnerships, the partnership between us and the developer, but also the partnership between the South Dakota Golf Association with the First Tee program and the first ever Golf Hall of Fame. So just kind of to summarize a few of the next steps here, this is obviously the first reading, setting the date of hearing for council on July 5th. At that meeting, we'll have the second reading of the ordinance for this lease agreement, as well as that resolution I spoke about with the shared parking agreement with the county. If all of that goes through, we would be looking at groundbreaking in August of 2016, so this year, later this fall, and then a mid-year completion. We did take this presentation and this agreement in front of the park board earlier today, and they did unanimously recommend approval of this as well. So at this time, I'll allow any questions that you may have.
Dustin, first of all, very good. We got to get you in front of the city and council more often. Good job. Council, and also thank you so much for being here tonight from Aberdeen. We appreciate that as well. Council, any questions, comments in regards to this particular topic before we try to set that second reading? Councilor Staley.
Just first of all, for clarification, when is the first time that the council's seen this contract? Was it this last Thursday?
We had brought the business terms and this agreement, not necessarily the written agreement, but we presented this information in front of the council at an exec session in March.
But this particular document,
the
written
document.
agreement just came out. Is
Yeah.
that right? Okay. So I had a few things. I was looking at it, and I'm just going to make a few. My understanding is we don't really get to change anything in the contract now. Is that correct? We just either pass it through as a whole entity, or we can't make changes?
That's correct.
Danny, you want to?
Danny Brown, City Attorney, that's
Yes.
correct.
Okay, so can I make a few comments about things I saw in here that I maybe had questions about? And we can do that, right?
You absolutely can, Councilor
Okay.
Staley. You're
Yes,
a city
all right.
councilor. You can go ahead and do that.
So the first question I have is the revenue that's coming off of the hotel. You thought about $45,000. That is going right back into the golf course fund? Is that correct?
The money generated from the rental fee would go to benefit the three city golf courses, yes.
And so I guess if I would like to say that I think that money should go back into the park fund.
Well, the money for the city golf courses is part of the park fund.
Right, so it would be within the park department fund,
Yeah,
not just for golf courses, but it could go to anything that the Parks Department needed.
The way the resolution for the park purpose read is that the money would benefit the city golf courses.
Okay, so
And that's the way it reads in.
There's just a special fund then for golf courses within the Park Department.
Correct, yep.
Okay, then the other thing I had a question about was the restoration deposit that you talked about.
Correct, yep.
And my question would be, why wouldn't we keep that $100,000 on hand like a trust in case there would be some kind of a default down the road, and then we would have something to cover the legal fees, the utilities, any other expenses that we would incur?
I'll let Danny answer that.
Well,
Instead of giving it back, you said as they were completing the project, they get the $100,000 back.
Council, what I could tell you is this is a negotiated lease. So there's some things that we had to give and take on. In this particular restoration deposit, our main concern, the individuals negotiating this for the city, the main concern was what happens prior to substantial completion. Once the facility, the hotel is built, that risk is going to be substantially reduced. The reason why, in a perfect world, we'd keep that money, but the reality of it is, once the facility is built, there's going to be substantial dollars invested. Keeping the $100,000 we determined wasn't a reasonable negotiating chip to hold on to. In order to get the deal done, there were some things we had to give and take on, and this was one of them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Danny, good job.
Can I set
Council Chair.
the date of hearing for July 5th?
Second, Erpenbach.
Motion to set the date of hearing for July 5th has been seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Neitzert.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Kiley.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 53.
Item 53, deferred from the City Council meeting on June 7th, 2016, a resolution of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota to establish a pre-annexation agreement with the Hayes Addition residents, 69th and Southeastern.
This particular item involves property at the southeast corner of, the northeast corner of 69th and Southeastern. It's owned by the Hayes family. We have been meeting with them for some time about an annexation schedule, as well as their legal counsel, Vance Goldhammer. We put together an interim step, which is the pre-annexation agreement. In order to get all the family and the parties together, they were not able to be here tonight. So again, we're asking that this be moved to the July 5th City Council meeting, but they are in agreement with the pre-annexation.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you. Council Vice Chair Kiley.
I'd like to make the motion to defer this item until Tuesday, July 5th, 2016.
Seconded, Rolfing.
Seconded by Council Chair Rolfing. Any discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Kiley.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you. Item 54.
Item 54, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Sioux Falls and Community Coordinated Transportation Systems.
Sam Trebelcock, City of Sioux Falls Planning. The resolution would allow the mayor to sign into an agreement that a lease agreement between the City of Sioux Falls and Community Coordinated Transportation System, also known as River Cities Transit, for one of the buses, the paratransit buses that we have in the fleet right now that is to be retired, would be leased to River City Transit, a lease for $1 for services as part of the pilot project that we are just starting up right now for agency trips. They would utilize that bus as one of 4 of their buses in the fleet as part of the pilot project. Considering that we have a lot of need for the program, we felt it was an important way to get the project up and going. The lease would begin as soon as this resolution is effective and would go to the end of this year, end of 2016, which would mirror the pilot project term. Again, it's for this agency's Lifescape and Dakota Abilities as a part of this pilot project. There would be no, as part of the lease agreement, really, River City Transit would maintain the bus as they would see fit. There would be no need for us to maintain the bus. As I mentioned earlier, that's something that we would typically be surplusing this bus and retiring it, but we decided to hold on to it to lease it to them as part of the pilot project. Beyond that, I would take some questions.
Is there anybody in the audience who wanted to speak to this particular item? Council Chair?
Yes, I'd like to say hallelujah. We finally got this done. And it'll be a big project. It'll be a part of the task force that we've done. And I am so looking forward to see what the results are from this from the next 6 months to a year. Thank you for working so hard and staying on it, Sam.
Council Chair, do you want to make a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Second, Erpenbach.
It has been seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. Any other discussions or hallelujahs?
Can I get an amen?
Very good. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Nitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Selberg, Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Kiley.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. That has passed 8-0. Item 55.
Item 55, report of the June 16, 2016 Notice of Transfer of Appropriations within Major Organizational Units.
Item 56.
Item 56, a motion to approve the Forward Sioux Falls 2021 agreement.
Brent, welcome.
Good evening. I'm Brent O'Neill with the Economic Development Division, here to talk about the agreement we are proposing to enter into with Forward Sioux Falls for their 2021 program, which takes us on a 5-year horizon out to the year 2021. I know there's going to be some questions on this item. I'd like to give a few remarks and then open it up back to the council for any questions you do have. At a very high level, would like to just revisit, the Forward Sioux Falls program in general. It's been a 30-plus year program that started in the 1980s. It was a joint venture between the Chamber in town and the Sioux Falls Development Foundation. We have representatives from that group here tonight. Slater Bauer and Darren Ketchum are not here on the item. They're actually out on a visit tonight with some site selectors who are in town. The program was really an effort to create investment by the business community to support the business climate and the business activity and the economy of the area and the region. It was primarily funded through private business investment, but it also had public partners like the City of Sioux Falls, the counties, and others. And it was really predicated on a rising tide lifts all boats mentality, that the investment of the community would lead to prosperity for the entire community and all businesses. The city has been a long-standing financial partner in that program, which is on its 7th iteration and operates on a 5-year program cycle. In the 2011 to 2016 program, the city's contribution was $1.5 million or $300,000 annually. The city and our office and others support a $400,000 funding level over the next 5 years, each of the next 5 years, for a total contribution of $2 million into the program. The program has 7 initiatives. Those include supporting Foundation Park, supporting the USD Discovery District, focusing on entrepreneurship and innovation, business advocacy, business retention, recruitment and expansion, air service and trade, and workforce, which also includes taking a lead role in some of the web-based items like talent portals and job searches. Tonight, we're asking you to approve an agreement defining the framework between Forward Sioux Falls and the city through that 2021 program. This agreement is similar to agreements we have with other entities like the Downtown Sioux Falls organization, the Sioux Falls Development Foundation for their activities. And this was really, all of these are really initiated as a, if you call it service improvement, if you will, where we as a city did not have agreements associated with some of the investments we are making with our partners. So about 5 years ago, we started a policy of having agreements accompany those funds going to those partners. This will be the first time since that policy was implemented that we are in a new program with Forward Sioux Falls. So this is the first time we are doing an agreement like this with Forward Sioux Falls. I've got 2 final statements and then I'll open up for questions. I know you guys have seen the doc and do have some questions. It was meant to maintain the independence of Forward Sioux Falls and give them and their entire stakeholders, 200 plus investors, $15.5 million in total pledges. Wanted to give them the independence to still run their programs in the best ways they felt possible, but also give the city some assurances as far as reporting requirements, giving feedback, and then agreement on some mutually supported tasks that they can implement. This agreement would set that framework for 5 years. One question we got quite a bit, and I expect it to come up again, but the annual appropriation, that $400,000 we are recommending, is a part of the council budgeting process. So at the staff level, we would be making that recommendation every year. It would come to you in August and September to make that final approval, we hope, and we'll carry forward and see great things to happen with this program. So with that, I would turn it back over.
Brent, thank you. I appreciate that. Is there anybody in the audience who wanted to speak to this item before I went to the council? Yes, please, Mark, welcome.
Yes, Mayor Huther, I'm Mark Shalanta. I'm the chair of Forward Sioux Falls. I'm a volunteer in the community. When I'm not volunteering with Forward Sioux Falls, I am the CEO of SDN Communications. The first thing I wanted to do is just say thanks to the City Council and the city for their past investments in Forward Sioux Falls. As was briefly discussed, we have over a 30-year history within the community of working together between the business community and various public entities to help promote the community. We've done different projects together from a planning perspective, long-range planning. So I think, we have a long-standing history of really accomplishing a number of things to help the city move forward. It's been my pleasure to serve as the chair of Forward Sioux Falls, and it's been my pleasure to really work with the administration as we put together this first ever agreement between Forward Sioux Falls and the city. It was new ground for us, new ground for all of you, and just wanted to thank everyone through that process. And I'd be happy to take any questions if that's appropriate as well, Mayor.
Mark, thank you. Stick around just in case. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council before I turn it over to them? Very good. Councilors? Yes, Councilor Urbanbach.
Start with, first, thank you, Mark, and the whole team. You guys, this has always been amazing. Forward Sioux Falls is one of those things that I'm so glad our community has invested in over the years. I want to just talk kind of logistics with Brent, if we could. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that idea of, and you alluded to it, that council doesn't approve the budget for 2017 until August and September.
Right.
Yet we're saying now, we're going to add $100,000 to this line item that we've approved over the last several years. You want to talk about that? How does this contract kind of wait to be finally approved after we appropriate that, or how does that work?
Good question. The agreement really is, and the primary reason we engaged with these agreements and wanted to going forward was to set that operational framework and that mutual understanding on roles and responsibilities that each party might have of each other. Within a program like this, Forward Sioux Falls does the campaign and just completed their campaign. They are seeking 5-year pledges from not only the city, but their entire partnership and their entire funders. So I would view this a lot more in that vein, that this is kind of a precursor to the budgeting process. It certainly puts an expectation out there. There's no doubt about that. And certainly from my standpoint and others, we'd rally hard to continue to ask the council to support this each of the 5 years. I personally feel a 5-year agreement is more appropriate than 5 annual agreements. And for that reason, inevitably, we would have at least 4 years without going through the budgeting process if we did wait this year. So my long answer becoming short is I think this was the best sequence of events. Certainly you'll have to make your final decision in a couple months. But this feels good for us.
But understand then that of the council members sitting here, none of us, there's a potential that none of us will be here 5 years from now. And what we're saying now is 5 years from now, we want somebody else to commit to another $400,000. If it were my business and I've committed to write a check for X number of dollars for the next 5 years, that's a different deal. But just take that into consideration as we're talking about this. Again, not against it, but concerned about committing to 5-year for a term that is far beyond any of us on this council at this time. So that's my 2 cents.
Good point. Councilor Neisert.
I think it's a really good idea to have written expectations, have a framework rather than just handing over money. That's a good thing. But I do want to ask, and there might be examples. Are there examples where there's I don't know if you call this a contract for services or what this agreement is called, but where you have a number in a contract that's pledged? And I totally understand there's languages in here that says it has to be appropriated. We're not bound by this, but is there another contract that has a number?
One contract immediately comes to mind. I don't have it with me, and I couldn't tell you if it has a number or not, but it is the zoo. The zoo has more of a perpetual type agreement. I don't know what funding level that is at or if it is a fixed number year to year. What I do know through some feedback I got through the finance department today was that like this would still be subject to that annual budgeting process of the council.
Tracy or Danny, would you be able to answer Councilor Neisert's question? And Brett, you did a good job, buddy. But Tracy or Danny, could you help Councilor Neisert at all with that?
Tracy Turback with the Finance Office. Yeah, I can give it a stab. I'm not aware of any other agreements that the city has where we make what you might consider a pledge for future funding outside of this agreement. It's not uncommon at all, though, in other instances for the city to enter into contracts whose obligations extend beyond the end of our budget year. And when that happens, we have that provision in there that says if for some reason funds are not appropriated for that future fiscal year for this contract, then we have no obligation to make that payment. And that's clear in this agreement. It's clearly laid out that if the council does not appropriate the dollars, essentially the contract becomes null and void, and we're under no obligation to make a payment. And the Forward Sioux Falls folks understand that. That's not something that's unique to Sioux Falls. That's common in municipal government, not just in South Dakota, but around the country.
Tracy, that was very good. Thank you. Councilor Neitzer, follow-up? Very good. Thank you. Councilor Staley.
I'm going to be making a motion. Is this the time to do that, or should
Sure,
I wait?
if you want to,
Well,
go
I
ahead.
wanted to make a motion to defer this until Tuesday, September 20th.
That has died for lack of a second.
I'll second for discussion.
Councilor?
And let me say that I have great admiration for what Forward Sioux Falls is doing. My move to do this has nothing to do with what I think about your activity. But as we're coming into this as new council members, we're meeting with all sorts of nonprofits. We are going to be coming in and making decisions about what gets allocated this versus this. And I guess I'm in favor of saying you've had $300,000 in the past. You can certainly, I would certainly say, let's go ahead and fulfill that contract for 2016. But I will say that if we're going to be giving Forward Sioux Falls a 5-year contract, then we're going to set a precedence for all these other nonprofits to start saying we're going to pledge this amount of money to you moving forward. It's not really going to be fair to do it over here and not to do it over here. And I will also say that it's harder to get out of a pledge 2 years from now or 3 years from now than it would be for you to come back and say, we need this, and we have an agreement each year. And I've watched this play out with different entities over the past years within the council. The other thing that I think we need to be looking at is the Sioux Falls has jobs situation. Are we going to be continuing to do that onward for the next 5 years? So there's all sorts of different moving components to this. So I would say let us wait until after we get through the budget process, come back. If it's a good deal now, it's going to be a good deal then. I just think that the timing is a little premature, in my opinion.
Councilor Erickson.
I have some questions not related to the motion, if that's okay.
Is it related to the deferral?
No. Do you want to wait and vote on that?
If you wouldn't mind, thank you,
okay.
Councilor, appreciate that. A roll call vote, please, on the deferral.
Council members Neitzer,
Yes.
Rolfing,
No.
Selberg,
No.
Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
No.
Erpenbach,
No.
Kiley.
No.
That has failed 3-5. Councilor Erickson.
Sorry, I should have asked these questions before a motion was made. I just needed some clarification. I know that we had our staff send over some questions, but I just needed to ask them out loud and get some clarification just as we move forward on this. So if I could ask you some questions, Brent. My questions are in regards to, recently we heard about the discretionary fund, so I'm curious about how much of this $400,000 is discretionary?
100% non-discretionary after the council would approve the annual appropriation.
Okay. And then my other question is, talk a little bit about the accountability. I know you mentioned that as far as what they have to do to report. Will they, Forward Sioux Falls, come back to the council and report on that, or is it strictly between your office? Either way, I'm just kind of curious.
Sure. I might give a high-level comment, might even ask Mark to say a comment or two. This at a high level was kind of a unique negotiation between the city and Forward Sioux Falls in that, and I think I alluded to it earlier, this is a entity that has several partners and has raised a lot of dollars, and the city certainly is an important and a large contributor to Forward Sioux Falls, but maintaining a level of independence was very important for Sioux Falls during that negotiating process. At the same time, like we also alluded to, the city did have some things that they wanted in writing, so we really tried to strike a balance between having some report backs, having some tasks identified. I think it's section 2, some things that we're looking for that we both feel are achievable. With that, we do want to give Forward Sioux Falls a lot of leeway to run the rest of their program their own way. I think, to answer the second part of your question, we would really be looking at this agreement largely being self-sustaining, and it would really be if, God forbid, an issue or something came up, then we would address it. But we really aren't going into this looking to find faults by any means, and certainly if and when that came up, we'd probably, as as a staff, initially get some feedback to the organization, but at such a point it became a higher level issue, we certainly would engage others.
Mark, your thoughts on that, Councilor? Just, just to ensure that what he's saying is true.
Well, largely, I would say it is all true. I say largely, it is all true from the standpoint that we have a great dialogue, but we have a dialogue that takes place between the Development Foundation and the Chamber staff, with the Economic Development staff and the planning staff. Those dialogues go on weekly, bi-weekly. They essentially go on all the time. There was one of the questions that was raised about the report. The contract outlines providing an annual report, and I guess what I'm anticipating is providing that to the community development organization within the city administration. I'm confident that they'll route that through the council, but I guess I'm looking at the entity Brent and Director Ketchum as our points of contact and interface with the administration and the council. So that's where I would look for those reports to be made annually as well.
Councilor Erickson.
Just a couple more if you don't mind. What do you mean by self-sustaining? I know you mentioned the self-sustaining of it.
Sure. I think whether that was the right word choice or not, I don't know, but it was really meant to say that we have an agreement in place that we can always fall back on, but there's a high level expectation that we're not going to have to dig this agreement out every 3 months to see how and where things are going.
No, and I appreciate that, and I think it's good to have an agreement so you know what's expected of each party and you have the relationship together. There is a fine line when we're talking about taxpayer dollars that there has to be accountability, and I greatly appreciate that because this is not a business, and so of course you have to be accountable to the money that you're not spending it unwisely and it's used for the intent that it was given for, that foundation. The other thing that I just wanted to touch very, very briefly on was the SiouxFallsHasJobs.com, and I've had conversations with your office as well as other offices, and my whole concern with that is we've heard so much, a huge drive and pitch for this talent portal and the big need that is in our community for developing this talent portal. And so my fear was that if we hand off Sioux Falls Has Jobs, that there wasn't going to be enough flexibility that they could change this into what they saw fit. It was going to suit the needs of what you wanted to see happen, as well as Forward Sioux Falls. Based on my comments with both parties, I really feel that it's going to accomplish that.
I think so.
The groups have really talked about that. There's enough leniency and independence in this contract that you can develop it for how you see fit, and having that collaborative effort between the two parties. So I appreciate that. I just didn't want it to be tying the hands of not really getting that talent portal that we've heard so much from Slater Bar and some of the other folks, having that tool in our community. So thanks for answering all my questions. I know that sometimes I come at you with a lot of them, so thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Brent, you nodded your head yes. Mark, would you nod your head yes on that too? I would. For the record, Mark Shalanta nodded his head yes, Councilor Erickson, and so did Brent. Thank you. Council Vice Chair Kiley.
Well, I would just like to once again mention the fact that Forward Sioux Falls is really a joint venture between the Chamber and the Development Foundation, and they have a proven track record. And I think much of the success the City of Sioux Falls has enjoyed in recent years is due to our collaboration, the city's collaboration with organizations such as the Development Foundation and our Chamber, among other organizations that I will not mention here tonight, but they'll probably wish that I had. The whole purpose of this agreement is to promote economic development in the greater Sioux Falls community. And if I may just go through some of the deliverables very briefly, or the tasks that will be provided here. Actively support workforce development initiatives, promote quality community growth as it relates to business environment, maintain familiarity with federal and state legislative and regulatory developments that will impact existing and new businesses within the city, actively support marketing and public relations efforts to the national, state, regional area, develop key contracts for major commercial and industrial companies suitable for recruitment, facilitate the creation of development parks and expansion efforts, engage in other economic development related efforts as mutually agreed upon by the parties, and develop and distribute hard copy marketing materials and collaborate with the city for electronic version marketing materials. I really do not see the need for any of these items changing from this year to next, or the year after that, or the year after that, or 5 years out. I think the need is still going to exist. And as was already stated, an annual report will be provided. In addition to that, a review committee will be formed too, which would include city representation as well as the Development Foundation and other civic leaders to help provide direction for this particular agreement and initiative. So I wholeheartedly urge my colleagues to support this.
Councilor Kiley, would you want to make a motion to approve?
I was going to do.
We'll let
Council Chair Rolfing, would you want to make a motion?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for the presentation. Thank you for going through the hoops of getting this agreement, both sides. I think it's a good one, and I will move approval.
Second that.
Council Chair Rolfing's been a motion to approve this agreement, seconded by Councilor Vice Chair Kiley. Any further, Councilor Starr?
Yes, absolutely. I have a question probably for Attorney Brown, where we're at with this agreement, if I could. When I read through the agreement, there isn't anything that discusses the 2016 agreement that we were talking with the last time Community Development was here. They, I think Darren Smith, Director Smith at the time, promised an agreement for the 2016 money that we've already included in our budget, and I don't think this addresses that.
Perhaps I could address it if I may. Was that in reference to there's a different agreement we have with Sioux Falls Development Foundation for $275,000 in the 2016 budget. So that is unrelated to.
Okay, and we've handled that as part of.
That'll be coming in July.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a good question, though. Good job. Councilor Neitzer.
Once again, this is nothing against Forward Sioux Falls. I'd be happy to vote for this, but I have two deal breakers. The first is the multi-year pledge. I'm sure the Compass Center, the Children's Inn, all of these other groups would love it if we named a number. If I make a pledge to my church, I'm very serious about that pledge. It's not legally binding, but in the real world, we're locking in future councils. That's really what's going on, ethically. My other issue is that I'm not going to fund Sioux Falls Has Jobs. I'd defund it if I could. So, thank you.
Very good. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Neitzer?
No.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
No.
Staley?
No.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
That has passed 5-3. Council, very good meeting tonight. Thank you so much for being here tonight, as well as citizens. We've got a lot of citizens still hanging out at 9:05 on a Tuesday night, so great job. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Councilor Starr has wanted to get in all night. Councilor Starr, a motion to adjourn, seconded by Councilor Chair Rolfing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Sioux Falls, make it a great night.